What did you think we were before you began to think of us as human beings?
Well, in a way, we thought of you almost as a very superior pet.
Well, I remember quite well how those Polo children used to have to eat. They were fed in boxes and troughs under the house. They were fed cornmeal mush and beans. When this was poured into their box, they would gather around it, the same as we see pigs, horses, and cattle gather around troughs today.
When the Civil War ended in 1865, more than 4 million slaves were set free. By the late 1930s, 100,000 ex-slaves were still alive. In the midst of the Great Depression, the Federal Writers Project hired journalists and writers to travel the country and record the memories of this last generation of African Americans born into bondage. The Library of Congress is home to most of the slave narratives, a multi-volume collection of interviews with former slaves.
To my black brothers and sisters across this country, I'm sorry. I'm asking for your forgiveness because I see it. I see men like me rolling back the protections for equal employment rights that you fought centuries for. I saw it yesterday as we incarcerated a generation of your children and then profited off of their unfair sentences. I saw it in the history books as men who looked just like me imprisoned and shackled people who looked just like you and then built a nation off of the backs of your ancestors' labor. My seat at the table of privilege gives me the ability to easily ignore the scraps of food that fall on the floor that you have to fight for. Professional cowardice is a learned behavior, and because my rights are handed to me on a silver platter in this country, I can say and do whatever I want, which includes being complicit through silence and inaction. For too long, I've carried your cause in my heart and shook my head disapprovingly as the bad things happened, all the while knowing that I was going to be just fine. I can't do that anymore. And I'm not asking for praise or adoration.
What's up, guys? Actually, finally, black people voice about racism have been confirmed with white, which many people take it different when it's come from white and when it's come from black people. So that's what we'll be covering in today's episode. Thank you so much for joining. Let's dive in. Credit belongs to the owner of the video you'll be seeing in today's episode. I will be back with more commentary.
Guys, this is where we're at now. So these people are getting bolder with their racism, aren't they? Even though she's deleted it now, the user who posted it, the fact is they were brave enough to post it in the first place. So they're no longer hiding their racism. So this isn't even about illegal immigrants or asylum seekers or migrants. This is just hate for anyone who's not white, basically. Because everybody knows what blackface is, right? And what it means, what it connotes. Everyone knows what it is. Well, adults. So full-grown adults sat around, did that, painted their face. None of them could say, oh no, this is not good. All right, so we're private. And then they posted it publicly on TikTok. Obviously, they wanted the world to know how racist they are, because there's no way they'd say, oh, we don't know, it's not this or that. We know what it is. They're not stopping at filming innocent people who aren't white going about their day working, as with the two healthcare workers that were filmed for no reason, helping a child, the black grandfather who were playing in the playground with his white grandkids, taking that video and making it out of context. Now they're actually posting themselves in blackface. Ha ha ha. We see you. You can't lie. You can't deny. You can't gaslight. We see you.
Why do you think white people get almost double angry with white people who speak out?
I believe that the most threatening thing to a white supremacist is not a person of color. It's a white person who disagrees with them. Because white people listen to white people instinctively more than they listen to people of other races. And I think that that is true of all different kinds of intersections. Men listen to men easily in a way they don't listen to women. Straight people listen to other straight people in a way instantly that they don't listen to queer people.
So you think it's a power thing?
I think that if somebody has an agenda of trying to create a world in which black people are lesser or black people are like this, for white people to all agree with them with, the most threatening thing to them is a white person who goes, you're wrong. Because that white person could make other white people think, oh, maybe he is wrong. Maybe black people aren't actually like this. Maybe it's not like that. Yeah. Some of them aren't doing a project of trying to convince everybody that black people are worse. Some of them just have deep-seated, unacknowledged racism within themselves. They conceive of races as teams. My team is the white team. Dan, you're white, you're on my team.
Automatically.
And teams compete in sport.
Yeah.
So you need, as a white person down on the white team, we need to be working together to look after our team. If you say anything that criticizes white people, you are harming the white team's attempt to win, and you are strengthening another team's attempt to win. That is a fundamentally, subliminally racist conception of how race should be most important in the way that you build power and protect community.
So guys, actually for years, Black people been saying or talking about racism. And of course, now it's different because we keep seeing more and more white people confirming it. And now some people, they're like, oh, really? Is this happening? Because when Black people was trying to communicate, telling the world what they face every day, people try to frame them like they're just exaggerating. They want attention. They always want drama. But this is happening. This is not a lie. You can see even people from other communities, especially white, confirming it. So guys, let's keep watching. I will be back.
Hey, Virginia Beach. We need to have a talk. I would like to set the record straight. Back in March of 2025, there was an incident that involved 6 white students and 1 black student. And the school labeled it a racist harassment incident or a racial bullying incident. And since that time, an attorney Tim Anderson, who is also running for the Virginia State House of Delegates, conveniently enough, filed defamation lawsuits against the school saying that it was just a harmless birthday joke, and these 6 white kids, they have a very diverse friend group, and that they were friends and everybody just thought it was funny, and that the school overreacted and then has caused great harm to these white students. On July 3rd, I went to the courthouse and I got the documents, paid $78 for these documents. Anderson's claim that this incident was just a friends sharing a birthday joke is directly contradicted by the court documents that I received when I went down to the courthouse. And he's framing the accused students as victims of cancel culture, and he's ignoring the real victim, the student who endured the racial humiliation at school. He's saying that it was because of woke administrators and cancel culture that the white students are actually the real victims here. And what we can't allow politicians to do is reframe racism as like immaturity. The harm that was done to this student is real and it's lasting. And according to these documents, which I'll put right here for you, you can pause to read, the parents withdrew this child from that school after this incident. Also, it should be noted that the parents have not come out publicly or gone to the school and asked for the discipline decision that these students received to be reversed. So if they were friends and the victim, it was just a joke, why didn't they do that? According to the official investigation, the so-called birthday gifts included fried chicken, grape Kool-Aid, watermelon candy, and a girl's birthday card for a boy that had racist slurs in it, including Blackie Monkey and your favorite clan and what's up my beep. The victim reported that the bag contained black people food. Pretty racist. That's a quote by the victim. All 6 students admitted that the items were intended as a joke because they were racial stereotypes of Black people. Witnesses confirmed the victim was pressured to read this birthday card with these racial slurs out loud to them in front of others. And the administration formally determined that the incident was bullying based on race, citing unwanted behavior intended to humiliate, racial slurs, and negative stereotypes that cause severe emotional trauma. For Tim Anderson to frame this as immature behavior and accuse school officials of being woke is not only dishonest, it's dangerous. It erases the very real harm endured by Black students and undermines the fight against racism in our schools. I stand with the student who was targeted and all the students who deserve a safe, respectful learning environment. Our community should be holding local politicians accountable for weaponizing racism as a campaign stunt, because that's exactly what this is.
So guys, personally, I want just to take a moment to actually thank these white people who are willing to come out and confirm this information, because there's people who refuse to understand, to hear what Black people are saying. They always think like they're lying or for something. I really, really thank all these white people who are willing to come out and tell the truth. It's really, really good things, because it's nice, you know. It's not like proving, or it's not like Black people want them to come and say it. What I'm saying is like, this confirm what Black people been saying. It was not a drama. It was not like attention. You understand what I'm trying to say? I really thank them for that. Let's keep watching.
South is the whole problem. And I'm sorry if you live there, and it is beautiful there. I lived in North Carolina for 5 years. Civil War, and they came up with an agreement for Reconstruction. They never punished the South. None of those guys went to jail. None of them got their wealth taken away. What they did to be kumbaya is they allowed them to be politicians again. And that's where all the Jim Crow shit came from. So that's what happens when you don't punish people. And if you're in the South, you know you're the whole problem.
Can you imagine living in a United States where racism no longer exists? Can you imagine racism being something that we look at in a museum like an ancient artifact, or only read about in history books, instead of being something that we see happening every single day? I know it might seem crazy to think about right now, but almost 20 years ago, many people thought that that day had arrived. When Obama was elected president in 2008, many people said that America had finally entered a post-racial age. They argued that now that the U.S. had elected a Black president, race didn't matter as much as it used to, and racism was about to be defeated once and for all. However, these optimistic predictions didn't last long. As soon as Obama took the oath of office, hate crimes started to rise, and there was an explosion of far-right hate groups. Before Obama's victory, there was only a handful of right-wing militias, but afterwards that number went from dozens to hundreds. I saw this rise of hate groups firsthand. It was only a few days after Obama was elected when every family on my street got a strange letter in their mailbox. The letter was from a neo-Nazi hate group called the National Socialist Movement, and it said, "Missing, a legitimate president in America." The letter echoed Trump's birther conspiracy, saying that Obama had yet to produce a valid birth certificate, and asked how did he even get on the ballot. The letter went on to say, decades of Marxist indoctrination have taken its toll on white America. White children have been taught to feel guilty about who and what they are.
Guys, you know what? What I can tell you, always the truth will come out. No matter how long it will take, the truth will come out. Because I feel like as we keep going, as people keep knowing about it, as we try our best to tell the world the truth, to show that even white people are telling the truth, they are telling what they saw in their own eyes, because for them, they just think they don't even have reason to lie, right? So if they come out and say it, it's because it's beyond their thinking. Maybe they just start to open their eyes, or they just saw it, but This is not going to surprise Black people because they've been through this like for a long time. But I'm also happy that the world is seeing like what they've been saying, it's been happening. It was not an exaggeration. I love that, guys. I don't know what about you. Let me know what you think in a comment, but let's keep watching. I have a few clips I have left. I will be back.
That only whites are racist and must be more progressive in their thinking. That multiculturalism and diversity are good for them and the only way to atone for the sins of their ancestors. Now, you know what's really scary? The language used by this neo-Nazi hate group in 2009 is the exact same language that Trump and his government officials use today. Just last month, Trump's White House Deputy Chief of Staff Stephen Miller said, President Trump has fought the cancerous communist woke culture that was destroying this country. As we close the Department of Education and provide funding to states, we're going to make sure these funds are not being used to promote communist ideology. Miller said that the Trump administration is fighting to get critical race theory out of our school districts, which teaches children to hate themselves and to hate their country. He said that from now on, children will be taught to love America. Children will be taught to be patriots. By comparing the language of that hate group in 2009 and the Trump administration today, it's clear who and what really won the presidency in 2016 and 2024: racism. In fact, if we return to this letter from that hate group in 2009, we'll see that everything they were saying then is what Trump and his officials are saying now. This letter promoted straight-up lies, such as, illegals parade through our streets demanding amnesty. They murder 12 U.S. citizens a day. The letter also said, a white woman is assaulted by a black man every 9 minutes. That should sound familiar. That is exactly the same kind of rhetoric that Trump and other government officials have used for years to drum up fear against immigrants and people of color. Even though we know that all of this racist rhetoric is built on lies. That letter from 2009 ended with a familiar phrase too, America for Americans first. The fact that the same language that neo-Nazis used in 2009 is being used by Trump and his government today proves that Obama's election did not usher in some beautiful and utopian post-racial age. Instead, what happened was a racist backlash that gave rise to Trump and is taking the country back to its darkest days of white supremacy.
So guys, all right, let's say for decades, actually, Black people have been saying this, right? We all know that. But the different now, what I'm trying to say, it's like, let's say I grow up in a family, right? And they have telling me like, they say I'm white. I grew up in family. They always tell me Black people lie. They are not good people. And they always put this idea in my head. You understand? So when I see Black people saying like racism things, how they treat them differently, of course I will not trust them because I grew up hearing that they lie a lot, that they should not be trusted, that they just exaggerate everything. They always want attention to themselves. So for that, if I see Black people try to express what they face every day, of course I will not pay attention. I say, it's the same things. They're just lying. They want attention. You understand? But if I see someone who look like me, I just give an example. Maybe let's say we are white. If I see a white person talking about it, the normal person should be like, okay, he's or she's white like me. She's talking about racism. I had Black people talking about it, but I didn't trust them. And why these white people are confirming what they've been saying. Did they pay them? That's maybe an option. Or you have this curious, different. You understand? You feel different. You feel like you want to do research, to know more. I know some people, they're in denial, but those one who are in denial, I think they're racist. They're racist on their own, that's why. But the people who are not racist, but they just don't listen to Black people because they teach them that like that, if they see white people talking about this, of course they will have like they will be curious. They will want to know more about that. Maybe they will start doing deeper research. They will just contact those people and know more. And at the end, we know the truth. That's why I think we keep seeing more white people, different white people, come out and saying, oh, wow, wow, now I understand. As you saw, there's a guy who was in prison. So he was able to know everything because he was just roommate was the black. So that's what I'm trying to say. That's why I'm so happy for these white people who are willing to come out and tell the truth, because there's people who know but they don't want to tell the truth. But I really feel like many people, if you're white people watching this video and you have this kind of experience, speak out, because I feel like this needs to stop. Black people being through a lot. This needs to stop. And no matter how much you try to hide the truth will always come out, no matter how much you try. That's what I can say. So guys, let's hear what the people are saying in a comment, because with this topic I can talk until tomorrow. So yeah, so actually the first comment say like, black people have been saying this forever. Glad it's officially being heard. Yeah, they've been facing this. They want to lie to the people, showing them how black people, they are not trustworthy, they are not good people to hang out with, but that's a lie. For me personally, if I'm being honest, if you care about my opinion, I have my black America friends, and they're really, really good one. Trust me. I can depend on them. I can rely on them when I have a problem. They're always there for me. That means those people are good. It's not what they're trying to teach you. So be careful. The second one say, acknowledging racism is just the first step. Action needs to follow. And the third one says, sad that it takes white confirmation for the people to believe what black folks have been saying. Yeah, sad, but that's true. And the fourth one said, this is progress, but we can't rate the stop the word. Change is real in testing. Which I think like, okay, so if you know and you trust this, keep speaking up. Change, teach people, so all this can be over. And the last one say, hope this moment leads to unity instead of another trend. Yeah, which I agree with. So guys, I don't know what you think. Let me know what you think. If you have any experience to share, whether you're black or white watching this, let us know more about the situation. And I just want to thank you for watching. And the only thing I want to say, and the reason I want to give in this video, love is free. And if you love someone, you are happy. But if you carry the hatred for someone, you're always exhausted and in bad mood. So I feel like love is a beautiful thing. So don't always feed yourself with hatred, because trust me, you are destroying yourself. That's the only thing I can say. So guys, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate that. I will see you next one as always. Bye.